Hi everyone, welcome into this week's my weekly CBS Fix. I hope you're having a wonderful week, and I hope you have a wonderful Shabbos. And this week's Parsha is Vayishlach. The Torah introduces us to yet another prohibition. Isn't that great? The prohibition is called the Gid Hanashe, which literally means the removed sinew. It's referring to the sciatic nerve in an animal. And that part of the hindquarter, those nerves are forbidden for a Jewish person to eat. And so the question is why? So to give a little background on before the Torah actually introduces us to this prohibition, the Torah tells us about Yaakov, Jacob, our forefather, who was wrestling with the angel. And they were wrestling all night. And Yaakov at one point eventually wanted to give up, and at the point that he was ready to give up, the angel was able to dig his hand right into Yaakov's hip socket and injure him. And once he felt that, he decided to have stronger resolve and take over and be able to beat the angel. Now, the truth is that if the angel wanted to actually crush him, he could have crushed him in a second. But the lesson we learn from that is that Hashem only tests people with a test that they can pass. So it wasn't a test of actual physical strength. It was really a test of Yaakov's endurance. And Hashem wanted to see if he can endure. Now, if it was just for he himself, he may have given up. But because the future Jewish people were dependent on him and the children that he was going to have and everything else that he stood for, so therefore he felt he had to persevere. And then the Torah says, because this happened to Jacob, we cannot eat from the Gid Hanashe, from this sciatic nerve. And the question is, why not? What's the connection? What does one have to do with the next? And so two answers. One has to do with the actual narrative that I just said to you, that him being hit in the sciatic nerve, at that point, was the point that he was ready to give up. And it stands as a lesson for us that no matter what happens, we really should never give up. And because that was a sign of that weakness that Yaakov had at that time, so Hashem made that the sciatic nerve of an animal should always be a reminder for us never to give up. In the battle that we're having, keep persevering, keep going. You can do it. The same way Jacob was able to overcome his wrestle with an actual angel. So too, you can overcome the battles that you are having as well, and I can overcome the battles that I'm having as well. Lesson number 2 is that the Torah yet once again is teaching us the great power of restraint. That means even though something is completely permitted for us to eat, like a cow, however, the cow's sciatic nerve, the Gid Hanashe, is forbidden. Now, why is that? Because the Torah is teaching us a lesson that even though something is completely legal and permitted for you to have, it doesn't mean that you have to have all of it and that you should overindulge in it. And even in things that are permitted, do it a little bit. You're permitted to drink wine, but you don't have to drink the whole bottle. You're permitted to eat the Shabbos meal, but it doesn't mean you should finish off the entire plate of corned beef. You just have some of the corned beef. You don't have to finish every piece of kugel and all the cholent that's on the bowl. You can have some of it, but it doesn't mean you should have all of it. So the Torah is teaching us this lesson, that things that are permitted, nevertheless, they should still have a built-in lock and say, only so much. The 4 quarters you can have, but the Porterhouse is in the back, and the filet mignon's in the back. Hashem says, don't touch that. Why? Teach yourself self-restraint. And so those 2 lessons, those are 2 reasons. Try to keep it short. Have a wonderful Shabbos. Talk to you. Thank you for listening. Any questions? 732-556-7576. Good Shabbos.